All right, good evening. Welcome to part one of my Thanksgiving week special. We're finally finishing up what I think is the last set of photos from 2007, if you can believe that. Um, oh, no, I think we have the no, wait, we're good. I think I've done the midwinter trip for that year. Yeah, we have. Anyway, this is going to be a strange follow-up to a previous set that I did last Christmas involving Harrisburg line stuff and the Holland part of Cork. 3 days later, I went back out with a different friend, inspired by what I had seen, and I wanted to do it again. Not do it again, but I wanted to get out there. The weather was a lot nicer. He was coming from suburban Philly, and I basically took the R5 out to Exton, and then from there we set off. So today we should be able to cover the first part of the trip. Stopping by CP-HOLTWOOD, the Safe Harbour Dam, and some SEPTA stuff. Tomorrow we're going to be hitting the Port Road Shoo Flies, and then stopping by Columbia, eventually making our way back to the Lititz section of Cork interlocking. The one time I was out there before it was resignaled. So thank you all for coming. I will be doing this all this week, including Thanksgiving night. We have about 275 photos, so some of these sessions are gonna have to go a little bit long, but I think we'll be all right. Oh, and then there's Brian. So it's finally he's able to attend one of these. Brian, I got the older ones you missed up if you're interested. Just FYI. Oh man, it's back-to-back rail events for Brian, who just got from his model railroad club. Okie doke. So we're starting off. I did not take a ton of photos. This is not turning into a whole survey thing, but I did get a few interesting ones. Here we are at the Devon, what I'll call is a road bridge that has been repurposed into a signal bridge. This is Old Valley Forge Road. Apparently, one end. It's now been it's been a signal bridge for many years. I'm sure as soon as they get this re-signaled, this will be torn down. It's rather dilapidated right now. We also have a Silverliner 5. It looks like number 133 over there. Let me zoom in on this. My old one, that looks like 153, 133. That's definitely a 3. And then there's a blob. I think that's going to be 153. Doesn't really matter. But let's get this going here. I remember this is from the front of a Silverliner 4, so I had to shoot through 2 panes of glass. Oops. Sorry, I didn't get this set up quite right. I had some additional issue. Oops. All right, anywho. Track 3 is showing a clear. Oh yeah, we were running behind someone. We were in a Silverliner, so I'm guessing we were behind an Amtrak that crossed ahead of us at Bryn Mawr. And here we have a better view of the 2 signals there. Yeah, the reason I got this because I think I looked to be like, what's going on? Why are we going so slowly here? And then noticed that we would have had an approach. And this has been in would have been in what do you call that? November. Thanksgiving week. Interesting thing of how much leaves are on the trees. I was just out effectively on the main line today, and almost everything's down. Which should be. I thought we were supposed to be having warmer winters here, but someone did mention that there's some weird polar vortex activity that's making stuff a little bit colder than normal. Oopsies. And then here we are coming up on Paoli interlocking. Again, I was just here today. Unfortunately, they've been going through and chopping down all the trees along the right-of-way, which is unfortunate. We've been having a lot more of those, you know, the severe storms. It did make for some better sight lines, though. Paoli has an east and west half of the interlocking. This is the east half. It's mainly crossovers to allow express trains to platform. This is always an interesting little, oh, this is where I go and realize I've forgotten to pull up my Amtrak track charts. Oh, here we go. There's Paoli. So here's your east end. There's your west end. Here's your east end. West end's a typical full crossover. Both are on the same Model 14 machine, but I'm sure one of them was added when electrification was around the 1930s. So 29 and the 25 switch are the things that allow local to express crossing over. This 27th switch, I always figured it had something to do with the bidirectional track number 3. But just sort of that, you know, you'd think that if number track, but track 2 isn't bidirectional. Track 3 is. So that doesn't really help you get from, you know, a wrong running track 3 back, you know, track 2 to go wrong direction on 3. So I don't really know why that and it's a slow speed switch as well. Probably something to do with freight trains. Who knows? Rarely used today. You can see how rusty it is. If they ever resignal that thing's probably toast. Oops. I'm all over the place here today. Now I distinctly remember, and there's a number of trains that tend to follow stuff. I've been on some midwinter trips where we start getting bogged down coming out by Paoli, so it's not an uncommon thing. You know, Amtrak's not gonna hit. Again, here's a very used. They've now cut these 2 tracks to put the island platform in. I wouldn't have done that. I think that was ridiculous. They should have just kept with 2 side high level platforms. This basically makes it impossible to ever have a third, or what I would have done actually is not have all 3, cut the 2. I would have had like a narrow high level or moved one of these slightly to allow for 3 tracks, an express, 2 locals, an island, and then a sidewall platform. But now they're locked in effectively forever with 2 tracks through Paoli. As much as you say, you know, as my friend always said, my dispatcher friend, well, Harrisburg line is effectively 2 tracks out past Paoli. Like, you never know when you might get, you know, additional ridership. Especially if they have to have more zone service. What the heck? Huh. I have 2 versions of the same photo in the old set. That's definitely going to get fixed. You see the airline, unfortunately the air switches at Paoli have all been removed. And here we are, again, a restricting indication. I literally saw this exact same thing today. Well, I saw the signal say not the train's waiting on them. Of this, the train goes through, and this the operator, again, this is still a staff tower. The operator pulling that up as soon as he can. Almost like it's fleeted, but it's just an operator who doesn't want to get caught with his pants down. This classic view of Paoli here with the highest dwarf, probably the highest mounted dwarf that you can get. No, the ones at Boston are higher. That's a little bit better. So these signals are all, so these tracks are gone, they've been cut. That dwarf is still there. This is gone, this is gone, this has been relocated to there as a mast. Color light even. Or colorized position light. And note, this is a restricting indication. Not very well focused. It's going to be the 20L, 18L. L is displaying the restricting here. All right, coming through past Paoli Tower in the west end and the airline. This has already been pretty substantially simplified, although not completely ripped out. Paoli had the interesting benefit of almost before it was reconfigured of having almost no spare lever spaces. For the longest time, there was a yard here. This is the famous MU yard that PCB contaminated the entire area. There were multiple. There was one track here that's no longer, again, one switch that was here. I'll show you on this. There's your east end. There's that switch was removed. The hill track was cut to a stub. And then you had this cool duck under. Although the duck under was removed, that's where trains would come out of the yard. They did this really neat seesaw operation. That was there as a little weird vestigial stub. Today, most of this is gone. Let me see if I can roll over it. I was just out there today. Yeah, you can see that's gone. Those sort of come into it's turned into like a weird 3-track crossover with an MOW tail track there. And there's your substation. There's where the old MU yard. It's all being PCB remediated, and there was your tail track. So trains would come out of the yard, then reverse. There's your there's your duck under, and come up and around, and then be ready for service. Way more efficient than today's fixed thing at Fraser, but there's also a lot less traffic on the line. And here we have a non-zoomed version of that. There's your 21 switch and the west end of the interlocking. And you can see again where the old yard switch would have come in right there. I don't want to cut too much of this because I really do like how that sort of looks. Not much is, these were only ever used for crossover operations, like for wrong directional running, not casual crossing over. Although today, the tracks between Paoli and Fraser are now Rule 261. I was out there getting some pictures of the signals. Here we have Fraser. Fraser is the current termination of the line. The yard was rebuilt in the early 1990s, partly to support push-pull service. That's what the push-pull maintenance facility is. Sorry. Fraser is not on my 1992 track charts. However, I can roll down to some tower photos, hit over to Thorn, because that's where the Fraser machine is. So here we are looking at the 4W and the 8, the, can't see that, the flash in the way. The 8W signals here. The pocket track is where it allows the SEPTA MUs to come out of the yard. They only have one way in and out of the yard. They can come out and wait for their turn if necessary. So again, yeah, this let them abandon the old Paoli shops. The Paoli shop, MU shops, went in service in 1915, and they happily, for one of the earliest AC electrification car shops, and they happily sprayed PCBs all over the place. I always forget how you spell Fraser. F-R-A-Z-E-R. And here our 64 switch at Fraser. There is another MU tail track there, but that was did not tend to be used. SEPTA has generally taken to using it for old work train storage. Although sometimes you'll see stuff on it. Note there is a exit signal, a restricting exit signal that allows that entrance signal at Fraser to display a slow approach to a restricting. Gets them off the track a little bit faster. Just a cool thing on the cab. Don't know what Silverliner 4 I was in, but does show that in addition to the NEC, this is one of the fastest places you get on the SEPTA system, with speeds routinely at 90 miles an hour. On the R2, there's a lot of north of Wilmington. Sorry, you'll have a lot of there's places on the R2 and the R5. The R7. That you'll see this, but And here we have Glen, right near the old concrete products place. Hope to really get out here. This interlocking's going to go away soon when Thorn is fine. So Thorn, I think, is closed for its local interlocking, but they're still staffed for a remote of this, and to a degree Downs, what's left of it, and Fraser. Fraser is one of the bigger things that it has to deal with. So I kind of want to head out there today. I should have gone out there today, but I'll go out at some point soon to see what's going on. Because this is something's going to happen to this, and I don't exactly know what. It is where the freight enters the old main line. There's the old pole line, the CTC pole line. Who knows if any part of that is still in service? Not it was then, but this is the end. This is the start of Thorn. Oh, well, Thorn has Fraser, but it would have DEDs and some other stuff west of Glen. Oh, that's 433. See, I always wonder what MU pairs are. I think the 400 that starts at 0, so that would be the 432. So this is the old low-level platform at Exton. One interesting thing is that Exton, although it has a high-level platform today, at this time it had a mini high. And Keystones would stop here. So it was a common way if there was ever a problem that if a train got delayed in a way that a crew member was responsible for, either a signaling or on the ground crew, they would always claim that they had an ADA passenger at Exton as a way to attribute the delay. So I'm betting that they saw so many delays from handicapped people getting on at Exton, they gave it a high level. They prioritized it for a high level platform. You know, sometimes that's the way things work. There we go. First set's done. The second set moving there. Yeah, honestly, it's not Amtrak. On the Harrisburg line, the state of Pennsylvania calls every shot. Amtrak runs it, but they do nothing. They spend no dollars without PennDOT reimbursing them. They make no improvements without PennDOT asking for it. It is effectively, it's all SEPTA and it's Keystone. Even the Pennsylvanian is state supported. So Amtrak just happens to be running this electrified main line at the behest of the state of Pennsylvania. Just like the New Haven line, once you get past Port Chester, is most of the calls about it are CDOT, Connecticut Department of Transportation. People love to blame Metro North, they love to blame Amtrak, but you have to know that Amtrak, both of those can become convenient fall guys to take the, what is effectively a Harrisburg decision and blame it on Amtrak. I'm sure Amtrak can have input, but they're gonna Amtrak, for all I know, said, well, this allows us to more flexibility. We can pull a train out of the yard and we've got we can pull a train out of Malvern, have it wrong rail somehow at Malvern. I guess there is a crossover there, like a pedestrian crossing, and then your R2 can come straight out. Even if I'm sure it would eliminate some amount of delay. Not having to, but again, if you had that, I also know that Amtrak really doesn't like narrow platforms. They will definitely try to get to not have them if they can. I don't think it would have been catastrophically narrow. I think that again, if Harrisburg had pushed back, they get what they want. It's ultimately they are the decider. Here we have the famous 220 milepost 27.4 signal at Exton. Track 2 is an approach, and track 3 is clear. Track 1 is clear. I mean, for all I know, Amtrak could have pushed for the island platform, not really giving a crap, and then PennDOT, because there's very little institutional memory at any of these places. I've had all sorts of stuff from Metro North guy just saying that they can't, it's all consultant driven. Someone could have come in and says we really need to do a Paoli project. It needs to be ADA, blah 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 blah. And Amtrak's going to definitely say hey, do this, helps us out, and they're not going to know how to push back. Or for all I know, it's you might not even have the need for a third track west of Paoli for decades. Even with expanding service to Downingtown, work from home. Especially people living that far out. Just zoom picture there. All right. All right, here's the Kinzer substation on Amtrak. So I got in my friend's car, and now he picked me up at Exton. So fun fact, there's Exton. Pretty, it's got more parking than you think. Yeah, there's your overflow parking right there. Used to fill that all up before work from home. Exton is the reason you are unlikely to see SEPTA service get restored to Westchester. Why is this? Because there's Westchester. I'm going to have to get a different line here. Westchester is effectively in Exton's catchment. So there's media. Wawa's there now. Okay. This chunk of track is super slow, even if they restored it. That's going to be, maybe they can get 40, 50 if they're lucky. Probably some less than that. Meanwhile, Main Line, pretty fast, up to 80, generally 60 if not more. We go over to Google Map here. Look what you get coming right out of Westchester. All these suburbs that might drive into Westchester to catch the SEPTA. Why would they do that? They can get right on Route 100 and go right to Exton and park at Exton and have a trip that's 20 to 30 minutes faster to get into the city than if they took the R3. And that's your major problem with Westchester, direct Westchester service. But look at this little thing. It just wiggles its way all the way in there. 50-mile-an-hour line. not really quick. Whereas this main line is basically express mode. Might be nice to have downtown Westchester. The car-free people certainly want that. But in this era of whatever, Route 100 effectively, yeah, it's limited access. You get on it, you drive right to Exton. That's the Westchester Park. It's effectively Westchester Park and Ride. And you're Whitford that basically no one goes to. All right, we are going all the way, a good chunk of the way here, past Atglin. So there's Kinzer's. There's your substation. Yep, still in the 2-circuit zone. 1939 part of the electrification. Huh. I'm just gonna do a unnecessary cut there because it's kind of don't need all that brush. This is from my friend's car. He's driving. Here we have. Oh, this is right near where the current Rule 562 signals are for LEAMAN Place. You still good? We're still good. That's track 4, actually. There's only 2 tracks. This was 4-track until 1948. Then it went down to 2 signal direction ABS tracks. But they left them track 1 and track 4. And that's not even the weirdest odd track numbering thing that Amtrak has these days. The signal bridge is still here, but signals were removed a while ago. This is the heart of ABS 251, the old ABS 251 country with temporary block stations and all sorts of other crazy crap. I did not do a great job of getting out here, getting these signal locations before they got zapped, but they got zapped pretty early. All right, now we are back at LEAMAN Place. I was just here 3 days ago. No, today I was not just here 3 days ago. 2007 me was just here 3 days ago. I got a pretty good set of photos. I just wanted to get a couple additionals just because the weather was so much nicer. This is taking place on Black Friday, so I was not shopping. I was having fun. Today, LEAMAN isn't interlocking, but they maintained its very odd low-speed turnouts, these exact ones. Even after the concrete ties went in, these are still maintained 15-mile-an-hour turnouts. One was called AWL, the other one was BWL. Not sure what that stood for. Oh. Huh. Do I have my, hold on. See, like, technically, that wasn't, like, an interlocking. It was just, like, a temporary block station. So, like, on the Amtrak diagrams, it didn't have any, keep going here. Nope, that's not it. There it is. It didn't really label what, didn't really give these any switch numbers. They were unlocked with a like the facing point one. Well, that's odd. The trailing point one has lock. Let's go see what the PRR diagram has to say about this. Oh, that was even the wrong one. That's the BWL. It's like B. It's basically the lock lever. I could have sworn I have a photo of the LEAMAN Place panel, but I cannot find it. Maybe it's an old AIM conversation. 2 Model 6 controllers for 2 signals. Electric locks are automatic signals when block station is closed, yes. What the hell is PR Rule 502? No, it's not what I want. Oh, no one does. Fuck you. I want signal rules. I want the rule book. Alright. I know where this is. I have it in here because it was in the whatchamacallit page. I know I have that 1956 rulebook text in here. Oh, come on. I want to see what Rule 502 is. Like, what's his name had like a text version of the 1956 PR rule book. I know I downloaded it because I used to look it up locally. I just don't know where I put it. I wonder if it's in, well, oh, Regional Railroad Division rules. Huh. That's interesting. Cool. Anyway, multimodal ways might have it. Yeah, if they don't have it. Pennsylvania Railroad. Track charts. Come on. I want to flip a table. This is I've had this. Like, how can people, like, this was all I could used to be able to find it. Like, the 1956 Pennsylvania rulebook was all over the place. All right, I'll deal with this later. I will now. Now I know I need to go find that to make it available. It used to be on that Mark Beige page. That was the issue. It had a whole bunch of art and diagrams and stuff on it too. So this is the BWL switch, not the AWL. Whatever that means. Probably just B switch. Yeah, sometimes I go off on tangents. All right, at least I know that I need to go find that. This is one of my first whatchamacallits was spring switches, up close here and personal. Spring frogs, not spring switches. Spring frogs, as I'm sure I've gone over before. Got my freaking shadow in this. I usually try to keep my shadow out of photos. A diverging train will pick that little thing there and spread. Even both directions, it can spread the guardrail on that side pulls the wheel over, and it hits that bit and spreads it. Happens, you don't even notice it, especially even on a crossover. And of course, straight traffic, you don't feel the switch at all. Here we have our LEAMAN 2R. Normally, this again would act as an automatic unless the block station was in operation. So this is where the PRR's little marker light system would really come in handy. When the block station, they didn't have to do anything with the signal. They didn't have to put a number plate on it. When it was in auto mode, it would display that little dot. And when it wasn't, it would just not. That's good. Not the 2L, it's the 2R. I got so many things wrong on this. This is nuts. There you go. Nice picture of this. This was definitely a redo at some point. I just don't know when. Or maybe just repainted. It's odd that it had silver all the way up to the top. Normally Amtrak would have that all black. under the Penn Central and Conrail, it would be black here and then silver on the bottom. And a really nice picture of Lehman plus AEM 7934 here. And now we're at the HOLTWOOD Dam. So, oh, this is a fun story. Let me brief you. I'll start talking about it when I'm in the doohickey. But let me just get this dealt with. HOLTWOOD Dam is one of the hydro plants on the Susquehanna River. Conowingo is the largest. HOLTWOOD, and then Safe Harbor are the other two. HOLTWOOD is a fixed head. It was expanded. Wait, I'm going to see here. Blah blah blah. I forget what it was originally built with. It didn't have a ton of stuff to begin with. One second. Either way, currently has 200 megawatt capacity. It went through a new powerhouse. So there's the original powerhouse. There's your 20. It's like a 20-foot fixed head dam, and they had a new expansion. So the original one dates from 1910. There was an interlocking there, CP-HOLTWOOD. I tried to go back to get better photos. Unfortunately, by the time I got back here, it had been zapped, resignaled. But I was here today. Interesting thing is, again, this is still the 9/11 era. Dam guard came out to yell at us, not as in the dam. Security came out to give me a problem, and we made him go away, just saying, no, we're here to take pictures of the railroad. And the guy was like, all right, just don't take pictures of the dam. Like, I'll be watching you. I'm like, don't worry about it. We don't care. We're just here for the railroad. It was down its own private thing. So the guy was nice enough to not give a shit about the railroad. So good on him for only caring, not only caring about his job. I'm going to put this under CP-HOLTWOOD. So it originally had 12 turbines of modest capacity. Apparently, it was one of the first use of thrust bearings, because even a roller bearing would get pounded flat with the weight of the turbines. And then they added a couple more to boost the power up. Between here, Safe Harbor, Conowingo, you're looking at about a couple of gigawatts of hydro capacity in the lower Susquehanna. It's quite impressive. I always want to check. Yep. This is the sort of stuff I really wish I'd gotten more time to go out and deal with. HOLTWOOD is an interesting, on the Port Road, it's one of the rare instances you would see on the PRR of what I would call a true single track and passing siding like you have out west, where you would have like east end this siding, west end this siding. The PR didn't quite go that far. They would have like Rock and West Rock, Pilot and West Pilot. So they had about 3 or 4 restricted speed sidings, and then this one actual sort of controlled stretch of double track main line here. This is why I wanted to go through and pull this up on the 1997 PRR track charts. There they are. So, at the southern end of the thing between Tome and West Rock, sorry, that's one of your controlled full speed sidings. Then we had Pilot restricted speed siding, and then midway to McCall's. I don't know if I ever got out to McCall's. I know I got out to Midway. McCall's might have been a little bit too far. Holtwood is just this weird single crossover in the middle, basically creating a pocket. So you have McCall's here at milepost 26, Holtwood minus 26.8, Holtwood almost 20 at 25, so about a 2-mile siding, and then Midway 21. So there was even a bidirectional, like basically you had an ABS thing. Although they are both bidirectional, there was an intermediate little signaling thing. So this allowed them to have a little a 2-mile sort of storage space for a train for whatever reason. Don't know what was their original intent, but this is how it was done back in the 30s. Really cool bit of like leftover kit that this was de-electrified in the 80s and then just sort of sat. It was pretty sophisticated. Full CTC control, code line. They were able to, when the PRR electrified this in the 1930s, near the end of the 30s, they were able to just like roll in. This was pretty state of the art. Signal power, full-time, not battery, CTC, position lit, electrified. The PRR tend to be a laggard in its signaling tech, but the Port Road is one of the areas where it absolutely did something state of the art, and Conrail really felt no need to mess with it. Oh, there we go. Conrail really felt no need to mess with it, so it survived until about 2011. So I was out here in 2007. And unfortunately, by the time they started knocking it down, I was playing catch up, and I just didn't. Although some of them are really, really. Now I have a friend went out there, and he got photos of almost all of it, but not to the extent that I would. Don't know whose trailer that is. Probably maintenance away. What if that trailer's still there? Nah, it's all gone. I remember I did come back like in 20 something or other, like 11, and I saw boom that the signal bridge was up. So that was it. This area was one of the first things that was resignaled, so it kind of got resignaled out of order to a degree. I wonder. Hold on. Holtwood. Nah, there's no. It is a like dam company road. Oh, wait, hold on. At a certain point, it does stop. Oh, all right. Where's it stopping? I guess right there. Oh, they threw a gate up. Interesting. They're usually required. There's the fishing platform. As part of community whatever, they have to provide places for anglers and stuff. I should pop down to see what's going on with the new interlocking. But there's nothing really interesting there. So here's the, which switch is that? That's going to be the 37. Don't know if it's, so here's my thing here. This was on a CTC panel in Cola. Originally labeled, looks like 238L, 242L. $245. So I'm trying to figure out what that switch number would be. So that one was 245, 238, 242. So it's likely going to be 239 or, oh, there's a 41 switch. Oh, 37. It's probably just yeah, 237 and 241. But are those original? Let's go to Cola. Let's see what we got. Cola had a 150 lever machine. Sorry, just checking here. Yeah, this is really strange. Oops. Half of these are mine. Yeah, I'm not sure what these would be, or what I've done for other ones. The other part of the stuff was signaled from Perryville. The other parts were from what's that other place? Oh, from Cola. They were split, but I think the split was further south, or this would have been the first bit on the Perryville part. All right, let's go to Conrail here. All right. Maybe we can find an old timetable. Or an old interlocking chart for Philly to Viv. I got 1992. Maybe that'll have what I need. What is up with this? I'm looking for Holtwood. Oh, please don't be in a different division. Damn it. All right, what I want is employee timetables. I want something really early when Cola was still open, because it closed in the mid-'80s. You know what will also work? Penn Central. Southern, Central, Northern, no. Northeast, New England, New Jersey, Southern, that's not it. Not Western. Central? Eastern, that's it. I feel like I've done this before. Main Line, Philly to Washington, Belldale, Westchester, Columbia Port Deposit. There we go. Midway is Arcola. There we go. Quarry is our Perryville. Okay, confirm that. Not super helpful. So I'm thinking that Perryville had control of everything up to there. I just don't get why this is like 200L as opposed to something else. So that'd be probably 237, 231. All right, I'm just going to go with 237. And I'm also going to give it, under that, the LR system. This is original. The 37, this would be the 37. So the reason I care is that this is 37E. All right. I have no clue what I would have done this. Yeah, see, I'm just trying to describe what it is. Holtwood. 37. Oh, sorry, the 237. If I wasn't worried about that security guy, I would have just gone all over the place on this. But you know, he was there. I should have taken way more photos than I did. So here I have beautiful photo of the interlocking here. Beautiful light. There's the interlocking. There's the airline. We got a whiff of fall foliage here. There's your power supply. So one thing of note, that's live. This is how, again, this is the 6.9 kV 100 hertz signal power supply. There is your the famous your famous yellow sticker of shame, because this is all PCB filled transformers. It's interesting with today it's those metal huts. Then you'd literally have like a house that's cinder block and brick. It's got a chimney on it. Crazy. These would be the westbound signals. Fortunately, it's a little soft. I was kind of rushed here. Again, the security guard was kind of yeah, he wasn't standing there, but he did come over and bitch at us. But again, he was way chiller than he had any right to be. These are the 242R and 238R. Again, this guy only has a little hanging stop and proceed. He's got the full, but he's only one more block to a mandatory crossover. Also, traditional PRR only had backing on the center, because if otherwise you'd be approaching at a slow enough speed that you don't need. They figured you don't need the backing. Frugality to the max. Note the cabling there also. That's got to be the original tar impregnated cotton cabling. This was a living museum, almost more so than the PRR Main Line. And it's because the PR invested in this line. And Conrail didn't have to fix it. All right, here we have the 237 switch, along with the power supply and the airline. Also, not focused well. I was really rushing to get these. I was just sort of like not looking well, just, you know, because that guy had me wigged out. The Port Road, despite being largely north-south, is railroad direction east-west. This is the westward direction toward Enola Yard, Harrisburg. Here we have the 238R signal. Now, while this is my second generation camera, I didn't necessarily have the ultra zoom like I have today. Yeah, look at that. Oh, beautiful cotton cable. This would have been just about its 70th year of service. And the 242. That's an interesting thing. It looks like this lower head, that's a compact mount. That's a compact. Look at that. Oh, that's so interesting. If you check my blog, I did a whole thing on how the position lights, you can have them so that instead of this full size, you can make them compact. Newark Penn Station, LEAMAN Main Line has a bunch. Because there are these, you know, the little fan of rods. You just move the modules in, and I just noticed that this guy was had a lower head, was compact, and the upper head is thin. That's wild. I wonder if there's any others of those. I just never noticed that before. And Holtwood with its power supply. Oh, and the milepost 25. I forgot to put that in my other thing there. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's milepost from Perryville, but I'm not. Yes, it's from Perryville. I think that you're already starting to see some of the stuff arrive on scene for the resignaling. Well, I don't know about that. There we go. Let me just reverse these two here. And the power supply. If we zoom in on that yellow sticker of shame. Can't quite read it, but yeah, that's your PCB sticker. A lot of those kind of got left in place. Even when they about 2011, so this all got resignaled, and then about 2012 they rolled through and axed and welded, not welded down, but like just cut down most of the overhead catenary. But they kind of left a bunch of the ones with the PCB transformers up. So in the PRR days, these would be these power supplies would be the 100 hertz signal power, even on so forget PRR days, Amtrak. The signal power comes from the substations. When Conrail de-electrified in 1981, well, you know, what are they going to do? Because you know, so what they did do. Actually, I'm not entirely sure where it all comes from. I know that there were multiple supplies for this signal power. One of them was at Safe Harbor, where they kind of kept those little hut in the Amtrak step-up substation that they had their motor generator set. Another one was at Minnick. There was like a big old box there, and that was the power supply. And I'm sure they would have had one north. Maybe it was coming out of Amtrak's Harrisburg. Maybe they had one coming down from Royalton. I'm not sure what they did with those. Here we have the air plant. There's your compressor. There is your riveted air tank. Very cool. You know, I'm never going back there. All these things are gone, so I don't really need these westbound, eastbound bits. Some I can just leave them alone. Let's verify that. Yeah, that one's fine. Nah, that one needed more. Yep, that's crap. All right, next. Pipeline, that's your... Oh, there's your air tap, your air feed, and the air, whatever. Okay, I need this. I need all of this one. Yeah, so there's your air feed coming out of the whatever, the air plant, and then it's gonna feed the switches here. There's your. This is your like transformer delivery switch. I wonder if that's still there. They could have used it honestly when they did whatever. Nope, they took it out. Who needs rail to deliver a transformer? A fully interlocked. Oh, that's what that's there for. Okay. There's a reason that that's there. It's not for transformer delivery. What they would do is that this dam would collect. Remember, the Susquehanna feeds coal country. The anthracite, as it was mined, a lot of it would drift down with the river and would collect at these dams, something called fines, Fines, fine grain. There was a power plant here that operated for many years, burning them. It's gone now, but that would be the where the ash or whatever would leave. Okay. So we have the 237W switch. Plus the 241 derail. Okay. Oops. Last one of this set. Better view of the switch. All right, what do we got? The 237W. There we go. Note chonky air. Note those chonky air pistons right there. Man, this is just what the PRR sort of left it. There we go. All right, we're coming down to our last set here. Might be a little longer than the other ones. I should have scrutinized some of these a little bit better. All right, that's important. Is this blurry? So this is all the Safe Harbor step up, but it's kind of like that's not necessary. I need to go back here and get some better photos. Sorry, I'm looking to see which ones I need to cut. I wonder if those step-up transformers are still original at Safe Harbor. I will look into that slightly sooner in a little bit, or now. Yeah, I bet that those are still whatever. Sorry, I'm just checking the thing. Oh, cool. That's weird. When is this? 2022? Okay, so as of 2022, there's still some original transformers there. Oh, the bridge is open. I need to come back here. I forgot. Anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself. All right. This will be a little bit longer than the other ones, but hopefully we can get through it. A bunch of these are just going to be sort of crap photos, but I'll keep them for now. I don't have anything better. I should go back there at some point. All right, let's see if anybody has any questions. Yeah, they're building the new Coatesville station for Thorndale service right now, so it'll be going. It'll be fine. I've been to the Cape May Seashore lines. I mean, I've been down. I forget. I've been down there at some point, but like 2017, I think. All I know is that they're pretty much operating. You know, there's been a lot of events. Maybe since then, I can't remember. Oh, there's a neat little signal. Hold on. That would be the 42 ES. Probably the LA. 242 LA. Yeah, I'll just do that. Okay, starting again. Here are our nice little our 41D rail. No label on it. And then I love how there's like a signal outside, inside the plant fence. It's beautiful. All right, what do we have here? We have the 241. L. There we go. Here we have the. I did not walk all the way around because we were running. We had a little bit of a time constraint here, and I'll explain that in a little bit later. But these signals feel weird. Like that signal gantry there looks a little like newer or kludged, but I'm not sure. That could have just been the way they did it. And then a full version of the eastbound signal gantry. There's your pole line. It does not look like that. It looks like modern PVC coated telecom stuff there, not the original lead wrapped telecom wire that was still in service on Amtrak, if you believe me, if you believe it or not, until very recently. Yeah, that's the best I'm going to do on this one. Next, this is the derail. Nope, no labeling, nothing on it. I'm not going to try to even reorient it because I'm going to lose that point over there. Again, that circular tub is the valve, the air valve unit. There's a surprise view of my friend there, as he is very patient with my quote unquote railroad bullshit. All right, what do we have here? Oops. And there's the air plant right there. That looks like a different one that I took a picture of, but I guess not. See, today I would have gotten pictures of the signs. I would have gotten everything about this, and I just didn't, and it's gone. Hmm. There we go. That'll fix that problem. Oh, not quite. There we go. All right. You might recognize this. This is the Wikipedia image on Amtrak's 25 hertz power supply to demonstrate that that these 4 circuits coming from the Safe Harbor Dam are using utility style pylons. Probably dating from the 1930s, but they still look like $1 million. That's for sure. All right, we're done with CP-HOLTWOOD. That's all the photos I got. I really wish I'd gotten more, but then you guys would have been, hating it. So there were 2, I guess that's a good thing for that. So there's an interesting thing of where were the substations on the Port Road. That was a question that deviled me for ages, trying to find where these were. One of them is at Safe Harbor, because you need a substation about every 10 miles. So one of them was at Safe Harbor, where the step up still is. Another one, and you could see it until recently, another one was all the way down near the Conowingo Dam. It would have been right in there. Oh, there it is, the Conowingo rail substation. What's interesting is if you go and find the transmission line, it's easier on the regular Google. So there's the old Conowingo. You can see the stuff of that, and you can sort of see like there's a gap in the trees, like right there. So the Amtrak transmission line is this guy here. It's got to go over or under the power company one. There it is. There it is. There it is. You can sort of follow these. And at a certain point, you get... that looks weird. What's that? Wow, this is actually interesting because... okay, there's your lines. Why do we have this? What is this doing here? What is this damn thing? That's where the feed for the Fishing Creek substation went away up through the 1980s. Wow, this is brand new Google Street View today. And I didn't realize how close that was. And then they've ripped out, they scrapped the rest of that, but that went whoop, right down there, and that's where it was. So where was the other one? It's kind of near Holtwood, but not. Let's find out. Come on. Yeah, so it's interesting you have evidence of where those feeds were, but they're not there. Come on. Anyway, there should be a YouTube video on. Oh, hold on. I'll just look for it. There's CP Midway. There's the subs. No, wait. I think it might have been around the Muddy Run pump storage facility, like right in here. There's Holtwood. But anyway, when we left Holtwood, I wonder if I can find where that view was. I wonder where the heck that was. I bet it was on this River Road bit. That's where it is, right there. I bet that's right where it was. Right there. Boom. That's it. That's it. It's crazy that I can, come back, these many years later and immediately find where it was. Yep, that's immediately, and you got some cows or something in that field. Oh, no, just old tractors. And yep. Wait. Where was I? Yeah. Oh, looks like the tractors are gone. And one of the little whatever signs are gone. This is Holtwood, so this is accurate. River Road in Holtwood. Anyway, somewhere in this area would have been the substation, and it would always bedevil me I tried for years to find the similar kind of tap for it. So there it is. It crosses the lake. It could have been destroyed by the Muddy Run pump storage reservoir. I don't quite know how. Yeah, because they definitely built some new transmission towers for it. There's one there. There's one there. There's a series of videos on YouTube on the what do you call that? It's a cab view on Port Road. I'll go through it. I think the substation was right around in there. But I was hoping that I would be able to find, I would be able to find the tap like I could for the Conowingo one. Anyway, enough with that. Here I have the famous Safe Harbor Viaduct. I think it has some additional names. Okay, so we basically just went overland all the way up here to Safe Harbor. Safe Harbor is the other large dam. I think it's, what is this? Boy, like, Wikimapia really doesn't want to, like, come up today. Yep, Safe Harbor Trestle. Did I spell that? T-R-E, whatever. I'll let that go. So I'm going to just go with the old name here because it's sort of a flavor. It's a flavor. There it goes. 412 megawatts of power. So plus Conowingos, which is over 500 and whatever, you're easily over a gigawatt of hydro in the lower Susquehanna Valley. I really get to get on. So this was closed until then. Now it's a bike trail. I previously was on it when the bike trail got to it, but now they've completed it. I definitely want to go back. I wonder if there's like a walkway up there or something. It's gotta be. Sorry, it's sort of bogging down a little bit. I'm trying to figure out how to get up to that rail trail. I think you can just sort of go up right there. Can you? Yeah, I'm guessing that there's an access to go down. You hike down there, and you go in there. I definitely want to get back there with some bicycles. But that stuff's not going anywhere for a while. Yeah, that bike trail goes pretty far. There's a second viaduct there at Mardic Forge. And again, I walked across it before they made it all nice. Before it was cool. But it would still be cool to go and check it out again. Unfortunately, they took down the PR catenary and put up these damn monopods. Monopod-style power lines. Pretty neat route, but unfortunately, it's most of the character is gone. Sorry, just checking out some stuff. Okay, anywho. I'll keep the same name on this. So how do I... Alright. So this is the Safe Harbor step-up substation. Unlike the other ones, this is where your 25 hertz is converted into... it's 13K. So Safe Harbor Dam has dedicated 25 hertz turbines too. Comes out of there about 13 kilovolts, gets stepped up to, you know, the single phase, the split phase 138 kV. I have a lot of cool... Where is this? I have to find it. I have some recent cool stuff from the... Harrisburg Power Dispatch Office involving this. It's one of the more prominent things on the big board there. There it is. There's the Safe Harbor step up, and this is again. This is used to this board was used until 2013. What I need to do is figure out how to deal with these, because they're literally hidden behind trees. There we go. I will come back here and I will get better photos. So that's a sure thing. I just don't need to completely deal with this now. So we're getting close to the end here. I totally apologize. Unfortunately, I'd used to have, well, I still have it, but the grandfather clock I had here at my parents' house down in the living room, the bell chime broke. So that would always give me a little like, hey, dumbass, you're going on too long kind of warning. Oh, man. There it is. So this is left. See, what was I... Man, I was really applying a lot of correction. So this is also kind of soft. Okay. And he moved the whole thing. Kind of, maybe. I think... Oh, I know what the problem is. I know why these are all soft. I was taking them out the pictures. I was taking these pictures from a moving car. I think we had, like, people behind us. So I was just like, hey... You know, I just was taking these out the window and wasn't quite getting the focus right. I'm not going to try to go into describing all the HV, the setups. There are 4 circuits, 1, 2, 3, 4, that are going to go to Perryville. 2 additional, 1, 2, they're going to go to Atglin. And there's 2 on the other side that will go to Harrisburg. One of those has been deactivated. So that building right there is where is one of the Conrail 100 hertz power supplies. Really should have gone in there and gotten some better photos of it when I had the time. I didn't know what it was. This is also where the substation would have been for both the low-grade line that's on the viaduct and the port deposit branch, which is like more at grade. Note there's a rail. Note the rail line going in there for whatever delivery, transformer delivery. Get rid of those trees there. Get rid of this guy here. Yeah, I should probably cut out the thing there. There we go. Oh, if I go back to that other diagram, just realized, yeah, you can, somewhere in here you could see the They would have had the... So, yeah, the Safe Harbor substation is a completely different logical diagram on the power office. I'm not sure. I'm sure I have a photo of it somewhere, but not available. All right, really got to get going here. Did I get pictures of these? I might be able to zap these at some point. Nope, there we go. Here we have the Safe Harbor powerhouse. Pretty cool. Got a fish lift. Blah 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 blah. Should have like again. Oh, I shot this out the car window because I didn't want some guy coming out and yelling at me. I assure you, we are almost finished. There's the fish lift. And one of the traveling cranes. These are so cool. Man, I'd love to get a video or something from inside one of those. Unfortunately, these used to exist at Conowingo and they got replaced. And I know that I have a photo. I came back here. I know where those photos even are. There when I was on the rail trail. I'll talk about that tomorrow. But I got a picture of some of those at Safe Harbor. They are really those are ancient looking. These old traveling cranes. Unfortunately, they got yeeted at Conowingo. I think they still exist. Yep, there's one of the old ones. There's one. There's one. Oh, those things are so neat. Maybe I can find a video, some YouTube of them moving. Oh, shoot. Okay. The PR. So the importance of Safe Harbor is that it has two dedicated 25 hertz turbines. Probably one of the bigger reasons that Amtrak has stayed 25 hertz. They basically are a monopsony from power from those two turbines. It's really good for availability. As a rotating thing, it's good for it's bulletproof. Oops. Sorry about this. All right. And all right, here we have our Safe Harbor viaduct. Now it's a rail trail. Back then it was absolutely not, but it was also not going anywhere. This was built as part of the low-grade line, built in like 1904 to 1906. The original PRR Main Line really had a lot of, I mean, today, they're not grades like, horseshoe curve type of stuff, 2%, but it was still pretty hilly, getting across from Pennsylvania to the Susquehanna Valley. Lots of grades in the 1% range, not great for freight. So in the 1910s, they built a route from Parksburg, very, very low grades. You can see it's basically a giant ramp. And unfortunately, with the Conrail thing, when freight traffic moved across from the PRR route from New York City, when it moved to the Easton, Allentown, Bethlehem, Reading route, this effectively just traffic dried up, single tracked, abandoned by 1986. 1 second. I'm not sure if this might have also been from inside the car. This had a window. Yeah, this one has a window down. I really got to get back there. It's a really neat location. And now with the viaduct completed, I can go do a bike trip with my friend. Up here we have another another version of this. This I believe that these are the last of the original Transformers that they have. All the other 1930s ones have been replaced. The last two being at Parksburg and Thorndale. There might be one hiding somewhere, but I really don't think so. Sorry, this is the last one. I'm just checking it. Alright, that's good enough. Well, I don't know. Oh, I know what I need to do. Get rid of that guy. That should do it. Yeah. Whoa, that really did it. Wait, what? Oh. So I'm trying to deal with an oversized file there. Beautiful complex of these underneath them is really neat. There we go. And finally, one more bad photo of the doohickey. The Safe Harbor step up. All right. Trying to get this done before, got done in before 2 hours. Sorry for the long set of photos here. I just had a lot going on. Don't remember, we got a lot of fun, a lot more stories and stuff for the next bunch of days here too. So I hope you come back. Sorry for some of the whatevers today. Weird digressions, but I will be back the next weeks to finish this. Tomorrow, I've been holding out on a quite interesting part of the story that I haven't explained yet. So definitely tune in for that. Things get quite a bit little James Bondy here going forward. Let me check if we have any questions. Yeah, I've been to Hagerstown. What's up? I've been to around CP Town. The old tower is still kind of stuck in there. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. I'll let you guys go. YouTube gets angry when these go over 2 hours. So see you back tomorrow. And thank you again for making time for me. Hope you have a great day. Feel free to throw any last-minute questions in the chat.